There's absolutely no doubt about it. I'm not talking about the death of bin Laden, but the fact that some people are never going to believe it. With no body, no picture, and no gravesite, conspiracy theories are on the rise around the world. But why? And who are the people so prone to believing there's a plot behind this story? That's what I want to ask my guest, Dr. Gail Saltz. She's a psychiatrist, author, all-around rational person. Gail, thanks for coming in.
It's a pleasure.
So, look, are there two groups of doubters? The rational doubters who say, show us more evidence, and the irrational doubters who, no matter what you show them, will always see a conspiracy?
I would say, given the fact that right now, if bin Laden were alive and showed himself, nothing would be more humiliating to the United States. There's not a logical reason to doubt. So therefore, I think we're talking about people who either have a streak of great paranoia, who are always going to think there's some sort of conspiracy, some suspicion, and people who are doubters by human nature, in other words, obsessional kind of people who need 100% proof, which, by the way, a picture or a video would not be.
Right. I mean, well, a picture 100 years ago when the technology was new, perhaps,
today,
but not today.
Of course,
we all know Photoshop and everything else.
Absolutely not suffice. And I think that the reason is that the doubting is a defense mechanism. It is a way to say many things. Some of the things are, these people are not like me. Therefore, I don't identify with them.
These people being?
Well, it could be, we don't think Obama's correct because he's not like me. So that might be an American. It might be people in Pakistan saying those Americans are not like me. So I don't think they can be correct. I don't identify with them. And therefore, I don't believe it.
So that's the fascinating notion of a defense mechanism that lets folks in Pakistan who are sympathetic to Osama bin Laden, to Al-Qaeda, don't want to admit that their ideology has just taken this hit. Somehow they will pretend it's not a reality.
Correct. And I think that there's an implication, which may be or maybe not real, that they let us down or they failed their job by having him be in their midst, and that we therefore came in and did the job better. And that's a very unacceptable and distressing thought. Right. So you have to defend against that as well.
Well, you're making a subtle distinction. Those who were supposed, perhaps the Pakistan intelligence agencies that were supposed to have discovered him, they clearly failed. Well, my view is they're complicit.
Yes, but the Pakistani people, they own that, right? That's their intelligence, their government, their military was down the road. Right. So there's a feeling of, I mean, we would feel that way as well. Sure. Oh, we're Americans, we didn't make the cut, but you came in and invaded and took him?
Now, is there any rational demonstration of evidence that could persuade the crazies? Or are they simply beyond the pale? They believe that the UFOs come down every night. They think we really never went to the moon.
I think there's a big difference between UFOs are coming down at night and doubting something that has bigger kernels of potential truth. In other words, a man that's been hiding for 10 years. Why did it take us so long? Why could he be in their midst? I don't think this is as far out as, boy, you're really crazy. However, I do think, you know, paranoia always comes out of seeds and kernels of truth. There's always a kernel of truth to the paranoid.
Is that the old cartoon, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you, right? Which is one of the great cartoons. And so what you're saying is that kernel justifies for them their rational world.
Absolutely. And you can see that in people who have really elaborate paranoid fantasies, or people who, some people are going to look and say, this isn't so elaborate, right? Other people have said, oh, we got him. Oh, he must be dead by now. I mean, how could it take us so long? All of these things add to that feeling of it's rational that there's a conspiracy. But I am saying that I think the doubters, and they're really a minority, if we think about it, nothing will prove to them, nothing is going to prove to them that this is true.
So I take it from all of this that you agree with the president that releasing the photos would have been a vain act in terms of being persuasive, in terms of argument, could have had downside risk in terms of acts of violence, retribution, therefore not releasing was the wiser approach.
Absolutely. I don't think that any of these photos would have made a hill of beans difference to convincing those people. I do believe that it could absolutely ignite people. And let me also say, for the next generation, for the children of our country, I think it would have created tremendous, you know, we're not thinking about the greater victims here, the people who are really suffering and are going to be made anxious. And I think this would only increase that. Real
quick, I want to switch gears, but very quickly. We now have a treasure trove of information about Al-Qaeda, all the stuff we took out of that compound. Those who are still members of Al-Qaeda, do they now live in absolute fear? Does that paranoia for them force them to act differently?
Well, once there's a reality, absolutely. On the other hand, let me say that a lot of people knew they were being hunted anyway, and there's a denial of that, a feeling of no matter what, I'm immortal, I will be able to overcome that. and that's how they keep functioning. So it depends on that individual psyche, how much he lets the fear break through because of the reality that we did catch one, or how much he really goes into denial mode again and says, you know what, I'm smarter than that, I'm better than that, I'm going to win.
Okay, fascinating stuff. Gail Saltz, thank you so much for being here. Coming up, if someone moves into your neighborhood, builds giant privacy walls, and never comes out, aren't you curious? Not if you live in Abbottabad. We'll try to peek over the wall, coming up next.